Hi, I'm Troy Ray. I'm the pastor of Lakeshore Family Fellowship. My wife Cindy is a nurturer of all living things. And if they move or make noise, she will take care of them, which is good because I fall into that category too. We were out in the garden and I bent over to pull up a weed, and she goes, no, that's for the pollinators. Leave that there, that's for the pollinators. So I moved farther back into the garden. I saw one that I knew was a weed. Had been a weed all my life. From the time I was a kid, it was a weed. And she said, no, don't pull that because it draws the caterpillars that become monarch butterflies. So I went into the house. Jesus told a parable about a man that planted some wheat in his field. And then that night, it says his enemy came and planted some weeds. And his crew said, do you want us to go pull up the weeds? And the man said, no, let them grow up together. And when that time comes, then we'll pull the wheat and harvest it, and then we'll get rid of the weeds. Actually, I think they pull the weeds first, and they'd burn them, and then they'd harvest the wheat. That's a strong message there for us. We, far be it from you or me, but sometimes we have a way about us for calling things weeds. And Jesus' parable said a couple of things about that. First of all, he said that it says that for a long time, weeds and wheat look the same. And there's some wheat running around like Christians who are still learning how to be Christians. They're still trying to figure it all out. They're trying to learn from the master. Maybe they're not as motivated as you are. Maybe they're not as enthusiastic about their faith as I would like for them to be. But they're still wheat. They're not weeds, and they don't need to be pulled out. Another thing that this parable implies for us is that we're not qualified to determine who gets pulled out and burned up and who gets harvested. We're not qualified. Darn. Because I know sometimes in human nature, it sure feels good to lay into somebody that we see is just not measuring up. Of course, we don't know what they've been through. We don't know what their walk with God has been like. Maybe I have been more fortunate than they and haven't had as many obstacles. For whatever reason, Jesus made it clear that I'm not qualified to say who's a weed and who's a wheat. He says that the angels at the end of the age will go in and do the gathering. So it's a supernatural task, a task requiring greater, I guess greater knowledge, greater spirituality, greater familiarity with what a wheat is and what a weed is. Whatever it is, it's beyond us. And so what would it do? We can take two approaches to life. You can take the approach that it's all wheat, it's all weed, and it's all bad. And to protect the kingdom, we'll just pull it all. Which, of course, is not our job at all. What is our job? Our job is to make disciples. So, wheat being disciples or potential disciples, we could take the outlook that it's all potential wheat. Now, if we're wrong, well, then there might be some bad ones that still hang around. But we won't be throwing out any wheat prematurely. Something to think about. I love you. We'll talk some more.